Blowing away may be good. It doesn't look good for those in the Panhandle, is what you're
No,
telling
not
us.
at all. This is going to be a devastating storm. Billions of dollars of loss, obviously, and if you didn't heed the warnings, if they didn't heed the warnings of this storm surge, that's going to be the biggest deal. We're talking about a 12 to 14-foot storm surge, and most of the people who are killed as a result of hurricanes, it's from storm surge. Right. It's not from the wind. And it's going to be a big windstorm as well, as we saw a Category 4 making landfall sometime later in the afternoon on Wednesday. It's just getting bigger and badder as the time progresses. The pressure drop has been just enormous, 20 millibars in about 6 hours or so. And that's one of the strongest drops I've seen. This storm is getting more and more symmetrical, too, as it moves over some very warm water in the Gulf of Mexico. Water temperatures 85 to 89 degrees out ahead of it. And the purple here that you see, deep convection. The only thing they can hope for is that it gets to a 4 and then it goes through a concentric eye wall replacement, but there may not be enough time for that. We are seeing the strong storms continue to move off to the northeast. Eventually, this is going to take more of a northeasterly turn, and what that's going to do, it's going to start to bring some of these bands onshore along the west coast of Florida, which will produce some moderate to heavy rainfall at times. Now, the high-pressure ridge is getting eroded somewhat by this trough of low pressure that's approaching. That's going to allow it to move to more of a northeasterly direction and tear across Georgia into South Carolina and North Carolina, and then eventually back out into the Atlantic, where it could intensify once again as it goes over the Gulf Stream. It's going to lose strength pretty quickly, but I think it'll still be a Category 1 or 2 hurricane as it moves through and just to the west of Tallahassee throughout the day tomorrow and through the evening. You can see these bands getting very close. This one's weakening, thankfully. It was pretty strong just about an hour and a half ago. Another one behind it, and we're going to see this start to shift to the east, too. Once this center starts to move to the northeast, these banding features are going to get closer to us, and we're going to see a little bit better chance, at least for some coastal showers and storms. We had one brief squall move through earlier. Again, there's some activity just offshore of Anna Maria Island off of Siesta Key. You can see that activity starting to get some lightning. Typically, you don't get a lot of lightning with these storms, but the rain is gone. We had one wind gust up to nearly 50 miles an hour. That happened at 10:16 as a band of showers went through there. And again, nothing going on at Siesta Key. Things are quiet there down into Fort Myers for the time being. But when the storm starts to turn to the northeast, is that I think we'll start to see a little bit more of a chance of getting some of these feeder bands working their way onshore. So Port St. Joe, Panama City, it appears that somewhere there it's going to make landfall. But all the storm surge is going to be to the right of that, and especially near St. Mark's. Tallahassee, as I said, could see 100-mile-an-hour winds there, not out of the question. Numerous trees, power outages throughout the Panhandle, all the way up into southwest Georgia expected. Now, here's the rainfall forecast for us. This has increased somewhat because of that northeast shift. We're looking at the possibility of 2 inches of rain in some isolated areas, generally about 1.5 inches. So the storms that move through will be quick, too. They'll be fast hitters, moving at 30 miles an hour, 40 miles an hour, and they will have the potential for producing some isolated tornadoes. Again, here's the forecast path and track of this Category 3 becoming a 4 by tomorrow morning at sunrise, and then making landfall as a potential Category 4 hurricane with wind gusts well up there, up to 160 miles an hour. And then it's downgraded to a tropical storm in near Albany as it makes its way off to the northeast. For us, our winds will be brisk. They won't be tropical storm force, but they will at times. We will see some tropical storm force winds as these storms move through. Again, the winds will start to abate somewhat. They'll be out of the southwest. We are expecting high tide right around 1 to 1:30, so that'll be an issue for us again. And then again, another high tide at 2:28. That may not be as bad, but we'll have to wait and see how those southwest winds do. Here's the extended forecast then. 80% chance for storms on Wednesday, some of those heavy. Wednesday night showers continuing, even into Wednesday or Thursday morning. Then we start to dry out through the weekend.